Morning.
Morning, Dave.
Morning, David.
Good morning.
Hi, Jody. Hi, Tom. Gosh, I almost got run off the road by this big black special ops looking vehicle yesterday. As it turned out, Cheryl. I'm just kidding. What is that, Cheryl? Is that an Explorer that you're driving? Nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. Yeah. I was reading in the story about some of the COVID impacts. If you look at the latest stats, it's very discouraging. Where we're at, both health-wise and economically because of what's going on.
I would say all the numbers are going in the wrong direction right now.
Yeah, despite the fact that the capacity and effectiveness of hospitals and doctors has increased as far as treating patients, as good as we've gotten, the latest stat I saw is that you're 23 times more likely to die of COVID-19 than the seasonal flu. That is a scary, scary statistic. Unbelievable.
You see the first cruise that went out has a positive case on it.
I didn't hear you, Cheryl. Sorry.
The first cruise that they launched since this whole thing has a positive case on board.
Oh, really? Oh, man.
Who's going on a cruise now? I mean, really?
That's like the one thing you don't do right now.
I know, and invariably they're over a certain age,
Yeah.
Really, the death strip, Like that would be the last place I would want to be on.
Yeah, I can't imagine people actually taking cruises. It's like, wow.
I'm guessing they're super cheap.
That's true, super cheap.
So they got dead on a bargain.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I hope you're not expecting a lot of sympathy.
No.
It's hard to feel bad for stupid.
Come on.
I agree.
So Craig, you're going to have to, you're the vice chairman for finance and audit. And Jeff Lord indicated he won't be attending this meeting today. So you're in charge.
Okay.
Do we have everyone, Jody?
I'm just bringing up my notes here, so hold on.
Yeah,
The only other thing we're missing is
Gary there. I think we have everyone. Andrew, sorry.
Audit finance here.
Morning, Andrew.
We'll go. Okay. We'll bring the meeting to order.
Morning.
Morning.
Morning. Hold on. Who's on? Is that Jeff?
No, Jeff. It was Andrew.
Oh, Andrew. We'll forego chairman's comments and look to approve the October 8th minutes. Can I get a motion? Thanks, Dave.
I'll second, Cheryl.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any noes or abstains? Speak up. Got that, Megan?
Yep.
Just let me know, Megan, when you got everything.
Yeah, I'm also recording, so.
Okay, good. Payment of bills.
There's nothing really out of the ordinary. We did start paying the gas and electric at the 139 Commerce Road, so you'll notice a few more NYSEG bills every month. We did put up a for sale lease sign at 139 Commerce, so that's on there. We also paid Vibrant Brands for their work, so the $10,000 for the photo and video production, and $2,500 for their consulting fee. And if you remember, Southern Tier 8 is actually reimbursing that. Well, they already did, but they're paying that $10,000. And other than that, everything else are just standard operating.
Any questions? Can I get a motion to payment of bills, please? Thank you, Dave.
I'll make the motion.
Well, I'll second.
There we go, Patricia. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Aye.
Please speak up. Any no's or abstains, for whatever particular reason. No one will judge. New one, review of financials. How we doing there, Jody?
We're actually doing pretty well. This past month, we did have an operating deficit of about 6,000. In my report, I said 5,000. But we're actually much further ahead than I anticipated, given the amount of revenues we lost from COVID-19. $200,000 drop in revenue for the sale of property. But right now we're averaging about a $30,000 loss. And if we get reimbursed from Empire State Development this quarter, we'll be in really good shape. If you look at the year-to-date comparison that Jim did for us, it shows that from October last year to October of this year, we have an increase in total cash of about $117,000. So we're actually doing pretty well.
Excellent. Any questions?
Nope.
Let's try to keep that margin of error within a couple dollars instead of 1,000. Just my suggestion. Anyway. Okay, I'll return in a second. Give me a second.
We will.
Moving on. Hold on. That was supposed to be funny. If it wasn't. Thank you, Cheryl. New and unfinished business here. Megan, you want to go over the 5th round of PPE applicants?
Sure. So we got one application, and that's from the Inn at Cooperstown. They applied for 500. So approving that, our total request to date would be about a little over 15,400, and we still have a little over $34,000 left.
Let me ask you a question. Can anybody explain why that is going so slowly? I know that, the Community Foundation of Otsego County worked diligently to figure out a way to, and Andrew can attest to this, to funnel money to the businesses, not just not-for-profits. Doesn't seem to be anybody rushing to take advantage of that.
I think I'll let Megan go first.
I don't really know. I mean, we've advertised it, and I did have a lot of people say to me that they spent money prior to our award date. So, and our award date was July 23rd. So, I'm not hoping that I don't want COVID cases to increase, but I am hopeful that more people will need to order, and maybe they'll come back to us. I mean, we could also consider now opening it up to the city of Oneonta, because we didn't have it open for the city of Oneonta because they had their own recovery fund and they expensed that money in July, August. We're now into November. So it's very possible that the city of Oneonta could apply now for those funds as well. But
yeah, also, we limited it to $500 because we thought that there was going to be an overwhelming number. We've gotten some requests from some not-for-profits that they were looking for a lot more money, like in the magnitude of some IDAs in other parts of the state have been giving out $10,000 grants. And I think, certainly we could increase the award amount, and that would be more quickly. But given the pandemic is rise again, we like to try to keep it at 500 at this right now.
Okay. Thank you.
I think the city also, majority of businesses in this county, unfortunately, in the city did a disservice to many. If you talked to a lot of them that didn't even get it, so it was limited. They had limited funds to. So there's quite a few people in the state of Oneonta that didn't receive anything, and some of them don't even want it. So they took care of it themselves. But yeah, I think Jody's suggestion or Megan's where they did that. Okay. Looking to open it to the city again would be probably the right thing to do. Okay, moving on. Any other questions?
I do need a motion just to approve the one.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Can we get a motion, please?
So moved.
Cheryl, second.
I'll second Cheryl.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. I had to get out of here for a second. What was the next part? Sorry.
We did receive an offer from Tassi Carabinas.
Oh, right. Yep.
He would like to buy the Hale Garage building. He's offering us $250,000. I explained to him that the most recent appraisal we had done on it, which was about 3 years old.
Let me ask you a question. Don't you think this probably should be a private chat, executive session? It's really the best.
Yes.
Thank you. So if you want to do that, or do you want to do that now? Can we do that on here, Megan? Can you figure that out?
You're on mute, Megan.
You're muted, Megan.
I am recording the meeting, so we would have to open up a second line. So I think maybe if we could discuss it in projects, and then I could send out a link for our executive session
Good
and
idea.
projects.
Great.
And if it doesn't pass again in executive session, we'll just have at it, Jody. Okay. Anything else?
No, that's it.
Okay. Okay, let's move it on.
Dave made the motion to adjourn.
I didn't think you had to, but if people like to do that, that's fine.
I'll make the motion.
All right, so we'll move right into the projects committee meeting. I'll forego chairman's comments. Any questions on the committee meeting minutes from October 8th? If there are none, I would entertain a motion.
Tom?
Thanks, Tom.
Second.
Thanks, Craig. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Mayor
Motion
Hudson.
carries. We've got a Hudson now on the line.
Sorry. Homeschool is fun.
All right, moving into the project charters, Jody, if you want to walk us through anything there of importance, or obviously we read the updates and where things are moving, but if you want to walk through those, please.
I think the biggest issue on the project updates right now is the Richfield Springs project. We've been doing a lot of discussions with EDA. We had to submit an administrative plan for the grant application that was done on time, and they accepted that. It basically outlines the schedule that is in the project milestones. The other thing that has come back is we did have a meeting with them last week, and there are approximately 33 special conditions that we have to complete before they'll release funds. And like number 33 is the intermunicipal agreement between the village and the town. So we've been having a series of meetings with the town and our consulting engineers and the village. And most people are in favor. There seems to be a few people that are still questioning the need for it. But we're hopeful it's going to be a busy December, January, and February to make sure all these documents are put together and so that EDA approves the grant release of funds.
I know the project charter kind of noted a bit of the conversation, right, on their commitment level, and it still feels a bit lax, I would say. Are you gaining any kind of elevated confidence in their commitment to this project?
I'll have a better feel for that by sometime in mid-December, because I told Andela that we really need to have the banks commit sometime by the end of the year. So that's basically on her shoulder, and she claims she's going to do it, and that she's been updating all of her financials with her accountant so that she can turn those over to the bank.
Okay, great.
Well, I'm wondering, in the minutes that we had, it said that we were going to break out the Andela projects into two pieces, the site build out and Andela. Just wondering about how we're doing that in our head, and what the steps are with Andela and the breakout of the site build out.
Yes, I still need to do that, and we will break those out for the next revisions. That's one of the reasons why I'm also, we did not update the rail yards, because there hasn't been a lot of movement on the actual rail yards themselves, but there has been on opportunity zones and our market campaign, which actually are a component now of the rail yard project. So I've got to revise that charter to accommodate all three of those individual projects as one big project now for the marketing. But we'll go through that a little bit more in the director's report.
It just sounded from the minutes that they were two separate decisions. Is that what we were thinking, Cheryl? I don't think I was there for that meeting, so I apologize for that. Just wondering about the rationale for that and how we approach it.
Yeah, we talked about, in terms of especially the water and sewer extension and the site build going through different grants and different components. So we talked about creating two charters for I believe, Jody, correct me if I'm wrong, for the building versus the kind of water sewer extension components, the infrastructure.
Right, because there's been a lot of discussion that Andela's project is a standalone project of her building, and we really want to monitor that. But then there was a lot of discussion at some of our committee meetings whether we still want to go ahead with water and sewer extensions, even if she doesn't build that building, because we don't have an available site there with water, sewer, and natural gas. So that was some of the discussion about why to separate out the two.
So I would, again, where we're at, what month are we in, right? November, looking at as we go into next year's charters, to have those split out in that.
That was my goal.
Okay.
That makes a lot of sense to me, based on Cheryl's question, because I had the same question, that if the building doesn't proceed, does the infrastructure project proceed? So that's an important point.
Yeah, I think it's a different decision tree that you'd have.
Right, and the water and sewer extensions that actually are much more complicated, and I've got to go into a lot more detail on that charter, because there's things that are associated with it, like issuing a bond issue for that. That's a whole another separate project that needs to be undertaken.
Right.
Anything else, Jody, on any of the charters, or any questions on any of the charters that anyone wants to discuss? Okay, we'll move into the director's report.
Sorry, Cheryl, I was unmuted. Yes. On the rail yard, there were some questions on developing that one piece again before Ed May's property there. And you had some questions on that, Cheryl, I thought, right? Which was viable question. Is that what you're asking? Like something like that, as far as wanting to develop, and you said whether it goes in our plan, but there was no explanation. The answer was just yes, not what. How does it fit in? Correct, or did you figure that out?
No, what we talked about last time was that is that piece going to, if we were to develop that individually, would it still fit into the overall larger site plan? And that was a yes, right? So working to build out that one site wouldn't affect the larger picture of what we were intending to go after, or right, the maximum possible usage of that site would not be affected by developing that singular site.
You're right. Sorry, I was reading the minutes. Yep. As long as you're comfortable with it, I guess. So okay.
But both Cheryl and Craig raised a good point, and that's one of the other issues that I'm wrestling with. I had an hour discussion yesterday with Mike Nadolo. Is that we really have to focus for January a strategic plan as to what we're actually marketing that property for, the rest of the property. So I am in discussions with some people on coming up with a strategy for that.
Well, I just feel that, I mean, the discussion becomes mute in the respect that we have many acres that can't be filled in one property we own, and we're focusing on another property. So whatever comes to our table, we have to adjust if it's coming and see where people want to be, rather than saying, well, I'm going to market this and spend money and clean it up, and when we have, I don't know, 30 acres that is all planned to be developed, right? Am I off topic? Am I off on that? So,
yeah, and I would see it similarly, Craig, too, right? When you look at, again, site usage, do you have by the rail yards, are you marketing or looking to attract a different business than the other sites would attract? Right. If not, right, it doesn't make much sense to do much more with the rail yards until you fill your other lots up and get more of a strategic view of what you're doing with the rail yards. Now, if you have a different site usage or you have, right, somebody in the market you're marketing to differently, then it would make sense to do, right, two paths there. But I think it is sitting back as we go into next year and being very clear on the vision for both what we have for the business parks in Oneonta, but also then the rail yards, and then what's that plan going to look like to get us there.
Right. I mean, right now at this point, it's how many doors are we knocking on to get people in there? We know we have the properties. We're talking about it for the 8 years I've been on this board. So we need to just fill them. I mean, that's what it comes down to. We know we have, we know what we can do with them. So anyway, that's it. Thank you, Cheryl. Thank you, Jody.
Any other questions on the charters?
I'm just wondering what the results of the 1021 meeting was for Brooks. Follow up there.
Okay, with Brooks, it's an extremely complicated project in the sense that he's created a local, an LLC to actually go ahead and purchase the property that he's looking at. So the LLC would be actually the purchaser. Then Brooks Bottling would actually be the builder of the building that leased the property from the LLC. And while that's not uncommon to have that type of an arrangement, it makes it a little bit more difficult because he's in discussions now on the possibility of doing a bond issue for the entire project. So the bond would be issued for both entities, and we're trying to figure out, I've had some discussions with Joe Scott about that, and he indicates there is a way to do that, but it is a little bit more complicated because you're having some bond proceeds go to one entity and another group of bond proceeds go to a second entity. Similarly, the pilot agreement would just be going to the LLC, not to Brooks Bottling. Brooks Bottling, though, would be applying for grants through Empire State Development as well as the Office of Community Renewal. So it makes it a much more complicated project having those two different entities, one being the owner of the property versus the other being the owner of the building and the equipment. But those discussions actually are moving ahead. It's fairly optimistic. He would like to close on the property this spring with construction following the second year. So that also makes it a little bit more complicated in how the bond proceeds are released, because part of it will be released in 1 year, part of it will be released in the second year. And in theory, it could go into a third year releasing of the bonds because of the equipment purchases. So we're I just received an email from him yesterday that he'd like to sit down on Friday and go through a little bit more of the structure on how he's gonna move ahead with this.
Just not to complicate it anymore, but at one point there was some discussion about extension of the municipal sewer lines. Is there any discussion on that, Jody, town?
Yes, the town of Oneonta actually hired Delaware Engineering to commission a water and sewer extension study to those properties. It certainly would make sense from a long-term point of view to do that. There is, though, one of the drawbacks is that while Mr. Brooks is willing to participate in that, right now, the owner of the shopping plaza is not interested in participating, and there's some feeling that the hospital is somewhat lukewarm on wanting to contribute to paying for water and sewer extensions. So it becomes who's ultimately going to be paying off the debt service if the town extends water and sewer to there. So they are studying it right now.
Okay.
I know that originally, way back, they were looking at extending it all the way to I-88 and looking for participation from the Price Chapter as well as Springbrook's, the former St. Mary's. And the amount of buy-in that it would require from us and our usage was, it was not cost. There's no way we could afford to assume that at all. So I just wonder where they're looking, because there's been no contact. I don't know how serious it is, because there's been no contact for our organization on that development.
Right, and to complicate matters, Empire State Development is really out of the picture for now. I mean, they did not do a CFA round this year. It's doubtful to do one next year. So there's no real state monies involved in this. When it comes to the Office of Community Renewal, they could technically put money into this. So we really want to see what the cost estimates are going to be based on what Delaware Engineering is doing for the town before we would entertain doing a small cities grant for the extension of lines. In theory, though, they could also apply for EDA funds, which would pay for 50% of the financing.
Yeah, I mean, that explains it. I'm glad they're having the study, so you know what you're dealing with. We all know that there was a tremendous investment by Ryan, I guess was it a couple of years ago, in a septic system. So we're talking about a municipal sewer project that's 10 years overdue at the very least. But anyway, thank you for answering that.
Yep.
Now, related to Brooks, one of the optimistic things that has happened is that I did attend the county's IGA meeting this past Tuesday, and they are supportive, I believe, and Andrew, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe they are supportive of having the county apply for the small cities grant. Should we go that route and have us administer it, which is a change where they were 3 years ago or even 2 years ago, or actually even last year. They really didn't feel like we were a county agency, and then they could support some of the activities we were working on. But I think there's been a real shift on the county based on what we've been able to do over the last couple of years, that they recognize that we're more into the county than ever before.
So is the project contingent upon the development of the water system or not?
I'm sorry, could you say that again?
The project contingent on that extension?
Brooks's project.
Brooks. Is it contingent upon that expansion of the line?
No, it is not.
Right.
He claims that he's going ahead with it, whether he has water, sewer, municipal water or sewer anyway. The big question I still have for him, and I've got to clarify that with him, is the natural gas issue, because originally he wanted natural gas, but apparently that's not an issue with him anymore. So I'll have to find out in detail when I meet with him again. The other good things is that we did have a public hearing in Cooperstown. We are closing out Cooperstown Distillery Grant. And we did do a budget amendment for custom electronics, and we submitted the final drawdown request to the town. So once we receive that, that project will be closed out. So two of our community development projects will be closed out. Also related, Omegang has deferred any decision for at least a year. They want to see how things are going with COVID-19 by the end of next year before they make any decision on what to do.
That's very positive news.
It is. It really is.
And I will say that people from Kansas City I've been dealing with have been very responsive. They get back to me within a day, usually the same day with answers. With Southern Tier 8, they've launched a regional opportunity zone strategy. They've hired a group out of, I think it's Chicago, called the Opportunity Exchange, which specializes in helping market and connecting properties and opportunity zones to investors nationwide. I've been asked to chair the committee. We meet every 2 weeks, and it's actually moving ahead fairly quickly. So we're hoping that we'll have the Oneonta rail yards, properties, and all available properties are looking for investments or potential sale listed in that database. Regarding Corning, we did have a decision made for us to prepare the pilot payments that would be collected for the town, or actually the city, the school district, and the county. It'll start next year. The county real property division is taking that property off the tax rolls for January 1st, so it'll be wholly exempt. And we'll actually, sometime at the end in September, bill Corning for all the pilots on behalf of all the taxing jurisdictions and then reimburse everybody. Hopefully that's how we're going to move forward in the future on our pilots, because it makes it easier for us to be able to calculate them and know exactly what is being billed, as opposed to having the school district do one bill, having the town or the city do one bill, having the county do one bill, and then us trying to report to the state on what payments were made on the pilots. We really have to, it's a nightmare of a mess. So this will simplify the process a lot better. And then the last is the marketing study. We have gone online. It became active about 2 weeks ago. And there has been some criticism that we did not include businesses that want to be listed. So we tried to explain to marketing, Destiny Marketing out of Cooperstown, that we are not a tourism agency. We aren't, it wasn't our function to advertise local businesses to market their activities. We're only trying to get people that are interested in our county to look at our county, whether it's people moving up here or people relocating businesses here, and that we're not trying to market individual tourist activities. So we're having a meeting later today with both Vibrant Brands and Paper Kite to discuss how to proceed and how we're doing. And Megan, I don't know if there's anything you want to add to that.
Did you want me to show the videos? Would you guys like to?
If you can.
Yeah, they're like 1 minute videos, and I can send you the links. The links on our website are active, so I'll send those separately, but I'll show you. They're each about 1 minute. Here's the first. That one is more geared towards people moving here and living in a home, and this one is more geared towards businesses.
Time to move your business to greener pastures. Otsego County has everything your business and your employees need for success. From prime shovel-ready sites to ample warehouse and business park space, Otsego County offers opportunities and in a place that combines the tranquility of central New York with the excitement of growing communities. Whether you're looking to start a new venture or take an existing business to the next level, Otsego County is poised for growth and ready to be your business's new home. From the transportation-driven sites to access to major highways and major airports just an hour's drive away, your business can enjoy the convenience of being located right in the center of New York State. And with ample broadband internet, Otsego County is connected with the world. This area is attractive to high-quality employees, with small-town life thriving as an alternative to the bustle and stress of larger regions. Opportunities and world-class healthcare attracting those looking for a new lifestyle. It's easy to see why opportunity is blooming in Otsego County. Is it
And
So the quality of the sound is a little bit better than what you're hearing, so.
Yeah, are we getting any weekly reports or anything that you might be able to share with the committee in terms of hit rates or click-throughs or anything like that?
That's one of the things we're meeting on this afternoon.
Okay. I think it's just, I mean, obviously we don't need to go through it in detail in the meetings, but I think it might be helpful just to understand what kind of traction we're seeing.
Okay.
All right, great.
Just a couple things, if I could. There was conversation a few months ago when COVID shut down tourism that the county's too dependent on tourism. We like it. We like all of it we can get. But this year has shown us, that we need another revenue stream. And this marketing campaign, in my mind, was geared toward that. So the advertising for more of what we have or to bring people for tourism isn't our purpose. Our purpose is to broaden the audience that'll listen, that consider Otsego County as a place. So, to me, I think it's on target. And, we explain the long-term goal that we have. It's different from normal marketing of the county of what's already here. Is trying to get some new things here. Number one. Number two, my question is, with the responses, do we have a landing page? Do we have a process? Where do people go? And how is it, how are they communicated with? How do they, what happens when somebody gets interested?
Okay, where our landing pages are, there's actually hard photographs and copies. There's one section that says, if you're interested, click on here. They specifically ask, are you interested in moving here or are you interested in moving a business here? And then once we receive those, we'll respond to them individually.
Great.
That answer your question, Tom?
Yeah, one of the discussions that we haven't done, and we'll be discussing that again this afternoon, is we do not have links for either the Chamber or the Cooperstown Destiny US, whatever it is,
Destination marketing.
Thank you. And whether we want to include their webpage links in there.
It'd be nice, I think, to have a link to.
Who gets that, Megan?
Sorry? What did you ask, Tom? No.
I was going to say that it'd be nice to have, I like the link to you want to live here, a business here, and the next one I would think of is do you want to visit? So that you can, and that would be a great link then to all the tourism sites.
So that's what we have. We have an itinerary that's on there, and it's like a 3-day itinerary of what you could do when you come. And I think that's kind of what caused some apprehension because people weren't on that itinerary, and it was just a very basic guide. I mean, you can't go everywhere in 3 days, so it just listed like a Fenimore Museum, and so there were businesses that were upset, and so that's when destination marketing reached out to us. So we have discussed with Cassandra about putting a link on there so that if they do want to see what other businesses are here, they can just go there because we're not going to look at every single business on an itinerary. So.
Yeah.
Can we more efficiently just refer to the listings that the chambers have? Or, you know, I mean, that's the more complete listing.
Yeah, we'll put both.
If you start listing them, you're going to leave somebody out. I mean, that's a guarantee.
Always.
It's a slippery slope. So we're going to have links to go straight to them. And originally the targeting wasn't even for our area. So technically the businesses weren't even supposed to see them because it would have been in outside counties. So that was our first glitch in the system, was that I was seeing them on my Facebook and other businesses were. So that's actually been updated, and now I haven't seen them as of late, and I don't think anyone in our county should be seeing them. So that was the first hiccup, and we've overcome that. And so
Great. I think definitely something we need to stay on top of.
Very nice.
All right. Any other new or unfinished business? Okay, so I think we are looking to go into executive session.
yeah, so I just sent out the link about 10 minutes ago to everybody. So we'll just close out of this one. And if you guys go into your email and just open up the next one, and I won't record that session.
We need a motion to go into executive session.
Go for it, Dave.
I'll make the motion to adjourn the project meeting and go into executive session.
And I second it.
Thanks, Dave and Patricia. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All righty, we'll move on in. See you in a few.